6 p.m. We're going to call the order. We're going to have the prayer first and the pledge leading. So if you'll do the prayer, and I'll ask JD to do the pledge. That's all right.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening, thanking you for your goodness. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for going to the cross that we might have the right to live and live more abundantly. Father, we pray that you come into this session this evening, and we need you this evening, Heavenly Father, to help us in directions. For we need your direction. We need you to bring us together. We need you to touch the hearts of our friends and our neighbors. We pray, Heavenly Father, that this be a peaceful and a productive meeting. And we pray that, Father, for your guidance. But if we go by your guidance, your direction, you will direct our paths. And we need you to direct our paths. There's things that we can do, Heavenly Father, but we need you to help us, give us a mind that we need to focus on, and for the cause of the same thing of the city of Gladewater, and the betterment for our citizens. These are all of the blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Face the flags. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody coming. We'll start off next with citizens' comments. And on the citizens' comments, I know a lot of y'all been before, but y'all can talk to us, but we can't talk and answer back any of y'all's questions. We can see you later outside if you'd like to. And it's limited to 3 minutes. Remember who's first?
James Walker.
All right, James.
Mayor Walker.
Please don't say that. Somebody said that the other day, oh, that's why 2 people complained about potholes.
Oh, no.
I'm here primarily to bring a PIAR, which, anybody not familiar with it, that's Public Information Act request. And you want me to read it, Harold?
Yes, sir. You got 3 minutes to do whatever.
Okay. The amount of interest paid out by the city of Gladewater in 2014-15, 2015-16, 2016-17, contributions to the city of Gladewater by GETCO in those years. GETCO is also tax money. The total amount of indebtedness of the city of Gladewater is present. And I know that'll be for that 5.5 added on. And the longest payout already on the books for the city of Gladewater, and when will it be paid off?
I will be glad to furnish this information to you.
And while I've still got a couple minutes left on public, I want to say that Gladewater is in a deep financial hole. Everybody knows that. But this city council is not the only ones to be held responsible for that. We've had about a succession of city managers who were not interested in updating, modernizing, or repairing our infrastructure.
Amen.
They kicked the can down the road primarily because they knew they were going to go to another town and leave the city council and the citizens stuck with it. I do hate that we got a young city manager who was attacking this problem. I'm sorry that he ended up with kind of a hostile environment and decided to leave.
Amen.
And I don't blame him for that. But I do want people kind of to understand, it's not just this city council that caused this problem. This has been a long-standing situation that just kept getting kicked down the road, and now we've kind of hit the end of the road. Oh, one last thing before I leave. Harold, look at that picture. See what happens when you're mayor of Gladewater?
You don't got Jackson?
No. See, my hair was black.
Oh, that's James Walker. I got to serve with him. Appreciate you, James. Thanks.
Okay.
Remember who's next?
We have Robbie Duncan.
Robbie Duncan. Okay, right.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm not from your fine city, but I'm from about 6 miles north of here in Upshur County. Born in Good Shepherd Hospital, Longview. I'm here to plead to you guys about ordinance 93.6, the truck route. I'm gonna say 8 months ago, I got a ticket being off the truck route on Highway 8. It was on video. I went before the, I remember not what his name.
Judge Blaylock.
Huh?
Judge Blaylock.
Yes, very nice lady. Did a good job. Sat here the whole time, Mr. She was excellent. I appealed the ticket. She asked if I wanted to pay it Allison on there. So 6 months later, we had a hearing. I think it was last night. I get days confused. I apologize. And here's what I want to say. In order, I own Duncan Services since I was 21 when I had blonde hair. My dad owned Joe's Roadrunner in the 60s, and his uncle owned Carlisle's in the 40s. I don't know how to read, write, and spell very good, but I know records. We are regulated by Texas Department of License and Regulations. The whole state of Texas, if you have a tow truck, you got to register with them. They tell you the insurance, the safety, the lights, then you got to get a license. It tells you take tests and qualifies you to drive. I've had both of those ever since the day it started. I have them today. My son passed away. I got rid of my business 3 years ago. I couldn't take the pressure anymore. A year ago, my oldest son said, Dad, I'd go to college. I'm in the business. So we started doing this called Etex Telephone. We have 2 tow trucks, both registered, TDLR, state of Texas. He drives one, I drive the other. We both have our registration. We both have our cars. The officer stopped me, super nice. On video, he was nice. I got to ask him questions. He was nice. I don't think he's familiar with what TDLR means. When we were standing on the road, a tow truck went by. I said, what about that guy? He said, he's a tow truck. I said, so am I. It's on video. I tried to tell the prosecutor, young lady, and the judge, I'm in a tow truck. I got a license. It's on both sides of my door. They said it don't look like one. I'm sorry. They changed. I remember when rollbacks came out, everybody goes, rollbacks, you're never going to be able to pick up another rollback. Now everybody has one. Mine is a Peterbilt tandem axle. If y'all remember my company, I had 46 trucks at one time. 20 of them were 18-wheelers. Mine was a Peterbilt with a Landau trailer, specialized trailer. The axle's real forward, it tilts up, comes down, there's a winch. I picked up right here at the corner at 271 Road. The only one way to get there I know is to go there. And the only way to get out is to get back out of there. I asked him, do you know what a heavy-duty truck is? He said, no. I said, you know what they're between 26,000, 28,000, air brakes, ICC, DOT? No, sir. I said, well, that truck's a tow truck. I can prove it. I called the city of Longview, which I was in business years, and that fine on that, if you break a route, it's $250. I called Tyler, $250. Later on, it's $500. They fined me $500. They said, we'll let you pay $350. I said, no, I'm not going to pay a dime. I'm in a tow truck. Your officer said tow trucks are legal. I called down to the police station, came around the top. They said, you take it up to the city, they'll dismiss it. Well, here I am 7 months later, still $500 fine. I don't think I should have to pay it based on, it's a tow truck, based on economy and Keith Stevens, which I know both of them for 30 years. Both have lots there. I see their trucks down there. They have to get down there. They have to get back out there. If you have a wreck up here, some wrecker's going to come up and pick it up. As far as I'm concerned, everybody was nice and polite. I might have to come over tomorrow, but I don't want to get a ticket if I have to go to a certain place to pick up something. And that's all I want to say. And if y'all can help me, I really don't want to have to spend $500. I'm going to appeal it and continue to fight it. And I could have paid $350 last night, but I said no. I'm not gonna pay $350. I was doing my job. I'm in a tow truck. And if y'all can help me anyway, I appreciate it. And that's all I have to say, and I thank y'all for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Nickel. Member Hoover next.
Scott Owens.
If anybody's in the hall out there, we can still have room.
Scott Owens, 200 Maple here in Gladewater. Just come up here just to express my regret of Theo leaving on it. I may not have agreed with every little thing that the decision that Theo made, but over the course of his tenure here, we have made some great progress on it. I would like to thank with Theo and Sean before him, both of them had the interest of moving this city forward on things and that we're making progress on it. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is maybe harsh, but I want you to know that it's meant to be in the spirit of moving forward. All right. These two city managers here have left. Sean's left, Theo's turned in his resignation, they've left. What's done is done. And it's up to the ones of us left here to decide what we're gonna do and move forward and keep the progress going that I think everybody in town understands that we are moving in the right direction. I don't necessarily like the new taxes, but that's what it's gonna take to move us forward. That's fine, I'll go with that. But it's been with both of these two guys, and I had became friends with both of them on it, and I know their hearts, and I know they wanted the best for the city, and I know they neither one really wanted to leave. But it had got to be a hostile work environment. That hostile work environment was not the council as a whole. The hostile work environment primarily came from two of you, and you know who I'm talking about. And we get a new city manager in, y'all need to work with them and move the things forward on this. What's done is done, but we've got to go forward and make the city the best it can be.
Okay. Scott, thank you. Now, who's next?
Colt Edwards.
Colt Edwards, 152 Spring Lake Drive. First, I want to say this is hard. Theo, I appreciate everything you've done for this town. I'm pretty upset. I've thought long and hard about what I wanted to say, so I had to write it down. And I think what I've settled on for the best description of how I feel is that I'm disgusted and I'm disappointed that we are where we are today.
Amen.
I think about all the positive possibilities that we had in front of us and how those have been set back for the appearance of selfish motives and what I deem, for lack of better words, is ignorance. Selfishness that was driven because bathrooms didn't look like Mr. Clean had gone through them multiple times a day. Ignorance of knowing that the council's overall function is to stay out of the day-to-day operations of the city and let the city manager do his or her job. To not call public works employees and request they stop what they've been tasked to do by the city manager. Simply overstepping their role within the community. I think the biggest things that stick out to me is there's a lack of understanding of the weight of one's words, and that ultimately there has been an inability to see the bigger picture, and that Gladewater is hurting, has been hurting, and you're only hurting it more with your recent actions.
Amen.
My heart hurts for Gladewater, We really do have the potential to do some good things for this community. And my fear is that they're not going to be accomplished with some of the individuals involved because they can't get out of their own way. Gladewater is losing a very good city manager. I know he's not perfect, but he was perfect for Gladewater in a time where we needed someone to step in and start some cleanup. My guess is now that we're going to slide back into that same old mindset of get out of my sandbox because I don't know how to share and grow as a community. I look back on what I thought could have gone differently in the past to change the course. Maybe it was oversight from council, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they trusted inept city managers. Maybe that wasn't the case either. Maybe it was contractors that we trusted that throughout the years duped the city managers, city employees, but maybe that wasn't it. Maybe it was citizens that just really didn't care because they didn't have the information to understand and cause concern for them. The citizens of this community trust every one of you to make the best decisions for them, not yourselves. If you don't want that role, do my children a favor, step down and walk away. This community needs people that truly care about the growth and prosperity of this city. And again, I go back to my heart hurts, my head is starting to hurt now, thinking about the work that it's going to take to get another city manager here when they start reading articles in our paper, when they start asking people about Gladewater. And at the end of the day, my heart hurts because I want this city to be something different and better.
Amen.
Thank you, Phil. No, who's next?
Mary Ann Covey.
Okay, Marianne.
Mary Ann Cundy, 513 Hancock Street. As a preface, I have previously stated my disappointment that Theo is leaving. The hostile work environment that created the environment for him to make the decision of self-preservation to leave is illegal. Hostile work environment is illegal. The city's reputation is now damaged. We will have difficulty in getting a good city manager. And the city's forward progress that was being made is now going downhill, at the least sideways. All right. The City Council raised property taxes significantly last year for specifically stated purposes. Without a strong governing agent, as Theo Melancon has been in his position as city manager, it is questionable whether this council has the will or the capability to continue the progress toward accomplishing the goals stated as the reasons for the property tax increase. Much has gone on behind closed doors recently that is not for the highest good of all concerned. Therefore, for these two reasons, it is in the best interest of the citizens of Gladewater to be fully informed of the process of appointing a new city manager, interim or otherwise. I ask that a motion be made, seconded, and then passed by vote to revise the discussion on hiring an interim city manager, which I believe is item 9 on the agenda. To move that item from executive session to open meeting. Following is the text of the government code referenced on the agenda item, section 551.04. Per my reading, it does not require that this agenda item be held behind closed doors. 551.074, titled Personnel Matters, closed meeting. A, this chapter does not require a governmental body to conduct an open meeting for 1, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
That's all there.
that's all, okay. The next item is consent agenda, minutes May 18, 2017. What's the pleasure of the council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second consent. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. The next item is city manager report on administrative and capital projects. Theo?
So I just want to give you guys a couple of updates on some things. Number one is on a Tuesday night, Clarksville City passed the MOU that will allow Gladewater to help with the drug interdiction in Clarksville City. The MOU will be brought over to Gladewater for final approval at the next month's meeting. We just wanted to make sure it got passed first before it would be put on this agenda. Also, I want to thank the city of Kilgore. They donated 2 patrol vehicles to the city of Gladewater. Those will be used for our SRO program, so we won't have to take off of our fleet of patrol vehicles. That was very kind of them to do that. Texas Water Development Board has sent the board action letters to the city, and soon loan proceeds will move forward into closing. That closing should be within 60 to 75 days from today. At that point, the clock will begin on the first payment for the loan, which would be 6 months from the date of closing. I wanted to bring up a couple of things. One of them was from Public Works. We've been doing a preventive maintenance program on sewer lines lately. Been trying to stay ahead of code greens and things of that nature. So we've been flushing lines, and they're going to be sending in the cameras to replace pipes throughout the city that are continually giving us problems. In fact, many times we've had code greens, and what code green is basically when sewer lines are stopped up. We've normally had our main line stop up sometimes 3-4 times a day in different areas of town. As of yesterday, we hadn't had a code green in over a week due to doing the flushing and preventative maintenance on sewer lines. So that's been a positive and has allowed us to do a lot more preventative maintenance work. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we can take things. Just small little steps like that can help us really start moving along and getting ahead on parks and getting ahead on our water and sewer issues. Lastly, I wanted to bring up that Main Street. Kathy Cannon is working with the owner of 109 and 111 South Main on the facade to try to save the facade at what is the old fork. And so we're just moving forward and going to be allowing for an engineer to come in and just look it over. Of course, no dollars out of the city's pocket. It was through a federal grant. So, and that's all that I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Theo. The next item is consideration of East Texas franchise agreement. Theo?
Next, I have Mr. Larry Montgomery will be coming up.
Larry. All right. We met Larry at the chamber, special meeting. You were Buckeye, right?
Yes, sir, that is correct. I may get in trouble in this room.
No, we're all right.
All right, well, I'm Larry Montgomery, I'm with Etex Telephone. I am from Gilmer, born and raised, but Sonny Anderson is my uncle, and I am related to the Montgomerys that are here from Gladewater. I'm here today to talk with the council about the franchise fee. Etex, we're a service provider. We provide fiber-based internet. Fiber gives the businesses the opportunity to have higher speeds, connect multiple buildings together, and phone systems. Currently, there is a franchise fee imposed for service providers, but the franchise fee is for residential video or cable services. Our proposal isn't to provide residential television service, so we're asking for that franchise fee to be waived. It's currently, like I mentioned, is imposed on your current provider, but we're not offering the same services. So I've got a quick presentation, just a couple of slides to go over some of the services we will provide. We have a hosted phone service system that we would plan to provide here in Gladewater. Our traditional landline services for smaller businesses that don't need a phone system, and fiber internet services, and also we provide advertising services, marketing campaigns, and also commercials. As I mentioned, the fiber internet gives businesses the opportunities to go up to 1 gig services you typically find in larger cities. We do provide these cities in Gilmer today and also surrounding areas. No data caps, and also we have 24-hour support. All of our support and fiber splicing is based out of Gilmer. So if there are any breaks, we roll our crews from Gilmer to make those repairs. Our engineering department has already started on some designs. The map is kind of hard, but we've got a couple of proposed routes to get around the city. So we've already been doing some planning. We've been working with Theo. We've had a couple of meetings with him and also with the Chamber of Commerce. We've presented a couple of times different options over the services that we can provide. I just wanted to go through a couple of slides and show the difference. We're not going to be providing additional services, so we're just asking for consideration for that franchise fee to be waived. Thank you.
Any of the council got any questions for Larry while he's right here?
Well, I think that, because we would be allowing you to lay lines within our city, right?
Yes.
And without some sort of agreement in place, do you offer residential services in other communities?
Yes, sir, we sure do.
And so there is the potential that once this is installed, that you could later come back and offer residential services.
Yes, sir, there is a possibility. If there is enough demand, our board of directors would have us do the research. And in that case, we would definitely entertain, of course, to be on the same playing field as the other service providers that provide the cable service.
Well, because we have a franchise agreement with Suddenlink and Verizon right now. And, just a little concerned about how, by not having a franchise agreement with Etex, it'll be viewed by those two entities. So,
What is the net effect of this?
Well, the net effect would be, really at the end of the day, depending on, if it stays commercial, the impact on the amount of money would probably be minimal. We're probably looking at less. A lot of this is based on formulas that I can't even really calculate myself, but probably not even $2,000 on that, because a lot of these, even the residentials are, because everything's based on like how many connections and how much line and this, that, and the other. So if they only have a main spine of line with very minimal going out into the residentials, you're not really getting that much of a multiplier. Now, if they go into residential, now you're looking at a lot of accounts, a lot of line being laid, and that number ballooning up to, probably, a lot higher than that. You're looking at probably whatever 10, 12, 15, whatever Verizon and Suddenlink are paying right now. You probably see something more comparable to that range.
With the amount of money that it is, not the $2,000 is not a lot of money, it is. With having the ability to go residential at some point, I don't see a reason to change it. Unless there was something in there that if they ever went residential, that we would go back to a franchise fee. If it was to change, I would want something in there to cover us for that service if we were ever able to get it here.
Yes, and we could have our legal team modify a typical franchise agreement that states if we do go residential or offer the cable or similar service as the other providers, we would enter into that same clause with the same percentages.
So the franchise fee would be minimal as they start out with this trunk line?
Yeah, it's not going to be, well, because a lot of the formulas, at least from what I gather, just in looking at some of our franchise agreements, the way it calculates, they're looking at households, how much line, things of that nature. It's all these things that kind of add up to a number. And so if all they're going to do is the 3 miles of line, that's the main line, and they're only going to be doing commercial, they're really not going to have a whole, A, you're not looking at a ton of customers, B, you're not looking at a whole lot of mileage. And, and I say unfortunately because that'd be some great revenue for the city. But right now, there's just not a whole lot there. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is it's not that you're gonna be missing out on a ton of money, but if the allowance of residential to come in at some point, then you would be giving up a lot of money at that point, definitely.
Well, I mean, the way I was thinking about it is that Etex would not be having to pay out a lot of money originally, right? And we already have a franchise fee for Sunlink and for Verizon. And this is a similar company and operation, not as large, of course. But I can't see my way to change the franchise fee requirement for this group unless we did it for Verizon and Sunlink, which we don't want to do.
What would be our advantage for having Etex?
The fiber optics, your current providers, they don't provide the fiber optic services. It gives the ability to network multiple buildings for the city. As a perfect example, there are multiple buildings for the city. Our solution, we could connect all those buildings on one network. It allows you to share phones, printers, fax machines across one network. It makes troubleshooting for the IT staff easier, and the ability to upgrade. You can start with a smaller package, and as you need to grow, since it is on fiber, we just have to make a change back at the office in Gilmer. We wouldn't have to come out and do any boring or tear up any concrete. We could make those changes once the network is in place. Also gives the ability for the city to attract new businesses into town when you do have fiber optics available. Internet bandwidth and the fiber connectivity is what drives most businesses today, and it does make it appealing for businesses, for the city to be able to boast that they have fiber optic connectivity within the city.
Do we not have fiber optics now?
Suddenlink is probably providing a cable service, and I'm pretty sure Verizon is going to be providing your typical landline copper telephone service.
Right.
And that's currently what Etex has in some of our areas, but any new areas that we go into, we are installing only fiber optics, and it's all varied facilities.
Okay.
Who is covering the cost of laying that line? Do you already have customers in line, or is Etex going to cover the cost of laying that line?
We're still doing the market research, and finding out about the franchise fee is part of the research, and Etex would cover that cost. We come in, we do an assessment of what the city needs. We always start with the cities and the larger accounts, and then we go from there. Those routes that I had on the slide presentation, it goes past a lot of businesses, and my department would actually come in and just start surveying the businesses. You know, if we come into town, would you guys be interested in the service? So Etex would cover that.
Do you have a rough guess what 3 miles of line is going to run y'all to run it?
It really depends on how many taps off of each line, but we're probably talking about $300,000 to $400,000.
Any more questions for Larry? What's the pleasure of the council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we continue with the way that we are currently doing our franchise agreement without any changes.
Okay.
Yeah, I second.
Motion second. Any more discussion on this item? Among the council on it? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Opposed?
Thank you.
Larry, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again.
Good to see you.
The next item is consideration of water and sewer and utility rates. Theo?
Okay, well, thank you very much. Council, I kind of put at each one of your, at your seats, just a little cheat sheet, and they were out at the front, in the hallway for people. I wanted to have just a little easy, well, maybe not easy, but at least a handout that I want to be able to kind of reference. And so, as we were talking about earlier, we had a $5.5 million loan proceed that has been approved by the Texas Water Development Board. The Texas Water Development Board offered a low interest loan that's going to be advantageous to the city for us to be able to do the wastewater treatment plant, as well as some very major water and sewer line and sewer system replacements. And so I want in this sheet, what you'll see is basically, and I misspoke at the budget here, at the budget meeting, that is that the debt service accounted for $6.25. It accounts for $5.25 per month to pay that debt service. That would be about $2 at the water rate and $3.25 for the sewer rate to cover these costs. Now, on the maintenance and operation side, reserves are dipping due to an increased cost in maintenance, personnel costs, transfers into the general fund, and basically rates not changing regularly. Due to that, the recommendation I would set forth would be for on top of the $5.25 at $3.50 per month increase for the maintenance and operations, so that we can continue doing the preventative maintenance work that we're doing now. Also, a 25-cent increase per 1,000 gallons of water and sewer consumption in each of the consumption levels. These would generate revenues of approximately, and somewhat conservatively, about $137,000 that we could then not only be able to start putting into the reserves, but also, just as importantly, is to continue the preventative maintenance work that we're doing in the city. So this is kind of the breakdown: the $5.25 for debt service and $3.50 for maintenance and operation, totaling $8.75, with a 25-cent increase at each consumption level, is the recommendation of staff.
Okay. Any questions for Theo on this side? What's the pleasure of the council on this side?
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we increase the water and sewer rates to $8.75, water $4, sewer $4.75, and a 25-cent increase per tier, which is per 1,000 gallons of water and sewer consumption at each consumption level, effective immediately.
I second that motion.
Second by Blank. Any more discussion among the council on this side?
May I ask a question?
Yes, you're right.
When is it effective?
Immediately.
Any more questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay, carries. Okay, the next item then is discussion of regulating boat traffic within 100 feet of structures or shorelines. Somebody from the Lake Woods and something like that.
I thought we were tabling that.
That's what I was going to say here, just to say, I'll give a brief update and explain why I would request a tabling. So what has happened is that there's been some discussion back and forth on quite a few items, council. What we're dealing with is there are some erosion issues on the lake, or at least with certain lots on the lake. And so they've been, board's been kind of asking questions about is it a no wake zone that should be enforced? Should it be that we don't, should wakeboards not be allowed? Wakeboarding boats not be allowed? Initially, the board put up a recommendation to regulate boat traffic within 150 feet to not make it a no wake zone. But since that meeting, after getting some public hearing and feedback from the community, they would like to be able to maybe take this up in one more lake board meeting before this comes up in for any type of voting or consideration of the council. So I think maybe a tabling at this time, and it also gives us time. I think the game warden would like to get involved in the conversation, and a few others would like to get involved before a final passage of anything.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we table this discussion until we're informed by Lake Board of their discussion to put back on.
Second by Leon. Okay. Any discussion?
Just a quick question. It is just a discussion, not consideration. Do we
Oh,
need the
sorry,
motion?
I did not look at that, was just discussion, but.
Just go ahead and vote. Okay. Any more questions, comments? All in favor of taking it? Okay, thank you. The next item is consideration extension of ballpark mowing contract and seeking bids for same. Is Mike going to talk about it?
I think Mike, did you want to speak a little bit? Let's run some more down.
Come down, Mike. Coach?
We're committed. I'm Mike Timmons, the
guess it was brought to my attention that the contract for the ballpark mowing, was coming up for consideration, that the current contract was going to expire soon. Just had a few concerns that, nothing major. I think the guys that have done a decent job of what they've done, but I think we need to expand on what they're doing just a little bit. They're not in any way touching the infield dirt. That's been something that the associations have done throughout the season. Well, the seasons are over. And I think what you're gonna see, if you don't expand that contract for them to maintain the infield dirt, you're already seeing it now. If you go by the ball fields now, you'll see that the grass is starting to take over the infield dirt. It will become an absolute nightmare to do something with next spring. Not to mention, you know, we're starting to see some tournaments come in. There was a big tournament last weekend that was held, and if you want to make this place appealing and keep it appealing, that infield dirt's going to have to be maintained. Now, the city has the equipment to do that, but if you don't have somebody to run the equipment, then it's useless. And, you know, the associations have contracts in place that end at the end of July. Their seasons are probably going to realistically be over in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Once that's over with, they're not going to maintain that stuff anymore at this point, up until probably March of next season. Now, grass will go dormant. So at some point, you know, the maintenance won't be as much, but I still think even throughout the winter months that those fields need to be drugged and maintained so that you keep a soft surface that doesn't become as hard as a rock. Okay, but the biggest problem you're going to have if you don't do anything is going to be, those are going to be grass fields, and you're not going to have any infield dirt.
Just real quick about maintaining that edge of dirt, they make a real simple tool that you just go along and cut the edge, and that keeps that grass from growing in. So, but it is very time consuming, so there will be needed consideration for that time invested in that. It's not just as simple as running a machine around the fields, which that'll prevent the grass in the middle of it, but cutting the edge and keeping those hard edges is going to be a time consuming portion.
But with that said, though, that sort of maintenance probably won't have to be something that's done every month. The dragging, the maintenance, the general maintenance that you bought the equipment for, that does need to be done every month.
I got a question. Sure. And could you not put some sort of edging around that, like you would a planter at your home, and pull it out when the season starts, so you keep that edge there?
Never seen it done.
Okay. I didn't know. I mean,
The only issue would be is if there's any types of fall tournaments that are played.
And I do think, I mean, because you're not just considering the associations playing there. The hope is that at some point we're gonna book tournaments every weekend or every other weekend, something that will bring people to town. And I don't know if any of you guys were out this last weekend. I know that Atlanta stopped by, and I know that you stopped by, but it brought a lot of people to town. There was a lot of people that brought some complaints about all the cars, but there was a lot of people that brought to town. But to maintain the ball field and to maintain the appearance and to make it an environment that people want to come and host tournaments in, that's got to be done. I don't really think it's even a question, because if you don't do it, if someone does not maintain that, this investment that you've made in these ball fields will go downhill quickly. And the appeal for people to come in and actually lease these fields and use these fields will go down quickly. And we want to maintain it for the kids too, but we've got to maintain it through the off seasons too, if we're going to keep it appealing and make people want to come in and host tournaments.
Do they make a tow to drag the baselines?
Well,
keep it open?
And you have that maintenance piece of equipment. You actually already purchased that. That was
we already have something.
You already have that, and you know, even if you extended the contract out, if you didn't want to use city personnel to do that, extending the maintenance or the mowing contract out and allowing the people to use that equipment could be something that could be discussed. They don't have to bring in their own equipment. The city actually owns the equipment. You just need to maybe negotiate with them to make that part of their scheduled maintenance whenever they come and mow and spray and weed eat. There's right now they're just not touching that dirt area at all, and they need to be. The other thing that we were concerned about was the spraying. I think they're spraying too many areas. Okay, they're not weed eating at all. The company that you negotiated the contract with, I think that was part of it, was that basically it wouldn't weed eat. They wanted to spray everything. That's okay in some areas, it's not okay in others. We have areas that they're spraying that we need grass growing for erosion reasons. We need grass in those areas where they're spraying and they're killing everything. They can weed eat the outside fence areas, they can weed eat some of the inside fence areas. The places they can't weed eat, obviously, are gonna be the backstops, which are nets. You can't weed eat that because you'll, but we need the other areas weed eated. And, the other area of concern that we had was outside of the ballpark. They're not maintaining anything outside of what's inside those fences. It's becoming more and more of an eyesore. You can look at the areas behind the ball fields where right now, because of the parking issues that they're having with a full schedule of softball, full schedule of baseball games, they're having to overflow out into areas that are like a jungle. Okay, so that'll eventually hopefully be developed into parking areas, but for now, we need somebody, whether it be city employees or whether it be extending the contract out with, whoever you're gonna negotiate with to do the maintenance. It needs to cover a certain area outside of the ballpark. Even the areas out by the road, they're really not maintaining anything outside the fences. So somebody needs to, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the same people. You can use city employees, but it needs to be maintained. It needs to be taken care of because it's going to get worse and worse. And there's a good investment there. I've heard so many positives throughout the season. This was the first real season that associations were able to hold there, and hopefully with now the parking lot being there, we're about to start seeing maybe full use of this. And I just don't want to see it go down as quick as it went uphill.
So would you feel comfortable with the ballpark board defining the scope for contract? Everything.
The thing is, the last time that you guys did this, we didn't even see the contract.
Okay.
We didn't even know, well, we knew that you were in discussion.
Yeah.
But we never saw anything that said what was gonna be, entailed,
That's
and
what
so.
we need you guys to look.
Well, that's why I'm here, because
Yeah.
I was afraid it was gonna happen again, and we weren't gonna have any input. So, for us to be able to help you, we have to see what you're doing, and, be glad to look at it, and be glad to help, and be a part of the process.
It's vital input and the committee's input on that.
One of the things that I was going to do is that's part of this is that I've already talked with Steve on this, was for the public works to be taking over that facility for basically a month and basically start working on what are all the things that entail working the park in the outside area. And so what I'll do is, and I've already talked to Steve about, but I'll reiterate with him that to come into a ballpark board meeting, I think you'll be at your next one and kind of talk with you guys, and you'll say, okay, from our end, this is what we're seeing as work that needs to be done. What are y'all seeing as the consumer, what needs to be done? And then hopefully that'll give the full scope of the work that's needed at that point.
That's a major investment that we've made, and that should be a jewel in the city of Gladewater. So we cannot drop the ball in terms of keeping not only the ballpark, but the outside areas looking really good, so that it's a good motivator for people who come in and see the ballpark. I'm happy we have it. I wish it hadn't cost us so much, but I'm happy to have those ball fields. But we've got to do everything we can to keep them up to top grade. We've got fields at ETBU that are like ours, and we've got two guys who do that thing. They've won all kinds of awards, so I think I'll try to get those two men to come over. Maybe we could all get together and see things that we can do as a city or this contracted group can do to ensure that dirt stays good and all the other things. So anyway, I'm all for it. Appreciate your input.
It gets better every day, it really does, but there's certain things that are gonna have to happen in addition to what's going on to keep it that way. And like I said, I just don't want to see it go down as quick as it came up, and it could happen overnight. Drive out there today, and I did earlier today, just to take a look to see. They've been, their seasons have been over for 2 weeks. The fields that haven't been stepped on, and haven't been maintained, there's already grass coming up all through the infields. And that is not easy to turn around once it happens.
Once it takes hold, it's a
And-
nightmare. to
And
get
you've
rid of.
got, you've got Diamond Pro in those infields, which you paid a lot of money for. You allow the grass to take over, you're gonna lose most of your Diamond Pro, and you're gonna have to reinvest. It just would be easier to stop it before it starts.
Great.
So Theo, you feel comfortable with city staff maintaining the fields from this point forward?
For at least a month, and so we can put together a work, and that's what there's a two-part reason for doing this 1 month deal, because it's gonna be, first of all, it's a hot month, so we should be having a lot of maintenance to do. Just to see, can we take it over ourselves, or if it needs to be contracted out again? And that's gonna be part of, they're gonna be building that scope of work with ballpark board, and then, and if the city feels that they can take it on, they'll take it on. If not, then at least about the full scope of work that needs to be bidded out at that time.
When is their contract end?
Tomorrow.
Oh, wow, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a pretty immediate
Yeah, well, Steve's
press
don't
matter
matter.
then, because, I mean, even the mowing right now is pretty peak season for grass to be mowed, and so.
My recommendation, that Mike made, differ would be to not renew it now until we were able to do that. So if y'all have to vote on something, I personally would ask that you consider a delay.
When is y'all's next meeting?
First Wednesday of every month.
It'll be July
2.5 weeks.
July.
Right after fireworks.
All right. And Mike, thank you for all you do out there. And Al, I knew you did work with us. I appreciate that, Al. Okay. What's the pleasure of the council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion that at the end of the existing contract, we allow Public Works to maintain the fields, and from that point moving forward, and then have the ballpark board, along with city staff and assets such as Dr. Robertson described, to define the scope of the desired contract to be submitted for bid.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. The next item is, we're going to go into executive session pursuant to Government Code 551074 regarding appointment of interim city manager. Thank you.
Oh, Lord, how do you accept it? Just 'cause she said so.
They really just opened the door and did that to get us all back in our seats. And it was just a ploy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're only paying like $30 for them, won't let these run.
Well, that's really not a push for it. The push for it is.
I've got everything written down.
Oh, good. Well, some people don't even know what those things are.
No.
Did they just take the bathroom break?
That's what I said. They just opened the door and messed with us. They were just seeing if we could get it.
It's not even good. I find a guitar over there.
I can't. I don't need break.
I thought it was really neat, Mark.
I agree, but it would really benefit me to work on the highway. It's times like this we need Gene here. It's been working out. Well, one person didn't have their laptop on there. That has something to do with it. And don't forget to turn yours back on.
I wonder if that was on the
They aren't mess with it.
this one.
They just never. I'm trying to
It's, you understand. She's been offered money for it.
We've literally got that.
We're halfway there then.
We're halfway there. See, the next time y'all leave the room, I'm gonna tie y'all together so y'all have to come back in the group. Can't lose people.
Maybe not for the bathroom door.
Oh, well, they're working on narrowing a few options down right now, so, yes, sir. The market populated that, but then they want to advertise it. We're seeing things like the days of listing, so it's competitive market, so.
So he must have had it quite a while.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your foot there. You like it, don't you?
Appreciate y'all waiting. The time now is 8:37 PM. We're gonna reconvene. Ready?
Mr. Mayor.
Wait, I fixed to read it.
Oh, okay.
I got to do the conversation. Sorry. The time now is 8:37 PM. We're gonna reconvene in the open session, take any action necessary regarding appointment of interim city manager. What's the pleasure of the council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, we make a motion to explore a partnership with Texas First Group in the hiring of an interim city manager. We will meet with Texas First Group at 5 PM on June 27th to begin this process. We will need a temporary interim city manager in the meantime. We would like to appoint Police Chief Rob Vine to this position, an additional $4,000 per month for compensation in this role.
Okay, here's second. Second by Dick Foster. Any discussion among this item, trigger button with the council? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. The next item here is the presentation of City Manager Theo, I still can't say your last name. No, I can say Jeremiah's.
Jeremiah's daddy.
Yes, Jeremiah's daddy. Yes, sir. Why don't we all gather around? I'd like to all the candidates and Theo. Get back here somewhere. Come on, Sonny. Sonny, come on in.
There's some chairs.
There you go.
I think it's good. I hope.
Oh, yeah, they got it.
Yeah, come on. That he can make a
Well, no, hi, Mr. Robert.
Can you get all of
Sonny.
us? Theo, we'd like to appreciate all you've done for us. Hope you have good luck down at Dayton. We're gonna miss Jeremiah, unreal, I tell you. But this is for you from 2016 to 2017. We didn't know how many more days or months. We didn't need it.
Yes, sir.
We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Glad you came.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Who's gonna make the motion?
Mr.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion to adjourn.
Here, a second.
I don't know.
All right.
There we go.